The Chicago Cubs in 2022 put up a record of 74 and 88 in a little bit of a weird season that felt like, at least from an outsider's perspective, felt like they had some bright spots last season, especially early in the season with a guy like Seiya Suzuki. But they ultimately didn't have enough pieces to put a whole thing together and push for a playoff spot as they finished 74 and 88. So heading into 2023, can they improve? They made some big moves in the offseason. What would the improvements look like? And can they improve? And what will the team look like? We're going to dive into that right here on our Chicago Cubs team profile, right here on Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derek. I'm here with Luke, and let's get straight into it. So, as I said, 74 and 88 was the record for the Chicago Cubs last season. Obviously, not a great season, but it seems things might be looking up a little bit as they made some big moves in the offseason. So I'll hand it over to Luke. You look at this Cubs team. Who are three key players for them? And out of those three guys, who's one guy who you would single out as being their real big piece?
Well, my team motto for the 2023 Chicago Cubs is gold on the ceiling. They could be good if everyone hits their ceiling, which is very unlikely. But three key players I have for the Cubs are Ian Happ. I feel like maybe the best player on their team. Nico Horner, who is under the radar, one of the really up and coming stars in the National League, I think. But the biggest key player I think I see on this Cubs is actually Christopher Morel. I think this guy is a budding star. He just needs a position. I see this year on their depth chart anyway. It looks like he's going to float this year. He's going to play different positions when different people are hurt. But that's one of the things that I really like about him. He plays all over the field. It was his rookie year last year. He had 16 home runs, a 741 OPS as a rookie, and he still doesn't really have a spot. I can't imagine a world where he's not in the starting lineup. I don't know where it's going to be, but luckily, I mean, the guy plays center field, third base, shortstop, second base. So that tells me he can play anywhere except catcher and do pretty well. So he's the kind of guy that love to have. He's kind of who's a guy like a Ben Zobrist type of player who I think has more natural talent, and he could really end up being a star as early as this year.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking at this team, kind of three key players for them. Obviously they brought in Dansby Swanson. He's going to be a big piece for them for now and in the future. Seiya Suzuki, I still have faith. I still think he can do good. I think people, look at him and go, "Oh, he didn't do good last year." I think he did a lot better than what people give him credit for. But the real guy I'm looking at is Marcus Stroman. I know a lot of people don't like Marcus Stroman. Some people are split on. Some people like him. I know Cassim can't stand him. But here's my thing on Marcus Stroman, right? It brings energy, whether you like it or not. He brings energy. And if this Cubs team wants to be good, Marcus Stroman's going to need to be good. They need Marcus Stroman to be at his best all year long if they're going to make the playoffs and if they're going to push for the playoffs. They need him to be good. He can't be the Marcus Stroman that we saw last year. He needs to be much better than that. And I think he can be better than that. And he's proven in the past that he can be better than that. But he needs to be able to show it in a Cubs uniform at Wrigley Field that he can do that. I think he can. I think this Cubs team, like you said, like everyone's got to kind of hit their ceilings for this team to be good. But a guy like Marcus Stroman hitting a ceiling would be very big for this Cubs team. I think that's fair. But moving on, because we do have one big guy to talk about, obviously, they made a lot of moves this in the offseason. Obviously, brought in Cody Bellinger. They brought in Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini, Tucker Barnhart, Jamison Tyone. But the big one was Dansby Swanson. So, looking at that, want to talk about Dansby Swanson a little bit, maybe, or you want to talk about another free agent signing they made?
I mean, you got to talk about Dansby Swanson. I mean, he's the new centerpiece of the lineup, a lineup with a bunch of guys who have really high ceilings, but a bunch are young and just you don't really know what they're gonna be yet. But Dansby Swanson's established 329 on base percentage last year, 776 OPS, 25 home runs, and a very solid D at shortstop. I think his metrics didn't really grade out as well last year, kind of like Carlos Correa's, but I mean he's thought of as a really good shortstop as far as I know. And and they got him for a deal. Like you look at the contracts that Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa, well, at least the first one that Carlos Correa
First two
signed.
he got.
Yeah, the first two contracts that Carlos Correa signed this year. And I was thinking Swanson would get 10 years at least, and he ended up getting 7, I think,
He
for
did take a bit of a discount though to go to
mid
Chicago.
100 million, something like that.
177, 7 for
177.
177.
Okay. Could have gotten a lot more. So I think he really likes what they're doing in Chicago, likes playing, next to a guy like Nico Horner. And maybe he just likes what Jed Hoyer is doing there. So,
This family ties there too.
oh, is there? Oh, okay. Well, that makes a little more
I think his
sense then.
grandfather, who recently passed away, rooted for the Cubs. I think he used to always watch Cub games, and his I don't know if it's wife or girlfriend plays soccer in Chicago.
Oh, is she in the MLS?
The whatever the women's league is, I don't know what it's called.
Oh yeah, MLS. Yeah, I don't know what the women's league is called,
I don't
but
know.
I mean, but yeah, he's there. He's gonna be their alpha dog now. So I don't think the Cubs are gonna do that well this year, but I mean, if they are, he's gonna be the biggest part of it. And I kind of like this team because they're easy to root for because they're a clear underdog.
Yeah, I think too. Yeah, they get very interesting. Obviously, Dansby Swanson, big piece. Jameson Tyone, I'm very high on him. But one guy I kind of want to focus on is Cody Bellinger because I don't think you're going to get that MVP Cody Bellinger. And I think that's at least for 2023 off the books. I mean, maybe they get lucky. But one thing Cody Bellinger is going to bring you is plus defense in center field. He's going to bring you, elite defense in center field, you know, and he gives you potential at the plate. Is he going to be MVP Cody Bellinger? Hit 45 home runs? Most likely not. But if he hits, 250 with 25 home runs, 30 doubles, you cannot complain about that at all. And that'd be a big bounce back season for him. And if you can get something like that out of a Cody Bellinger, one, it only makes your lineup better. And two, it only makes your team as a whole better and helps your pitchers out because they'll be playing good defense in center field. You can move Morel around defensively. Up the middle, this Cubs defense at, second, short, center, Horner, Swanson, Bellinger might be one of the best. It's definitely one of the best in the big leagues, if not the best. It is elite defense, just straight up the middle, and I think that's going to be huge for them. And that's why I think Cody Bellinger, even if he's not going to be MVP Cody Bellinger at the plate, but if he plays good defense, I think he'll find a good spot in that lineup.
I loved Bellinger when he was in LA. I am so flummoxed about this now 3-year nosedive that he's in, but it's 389 slugging percentage and 654 OPS for a guy with his skill set is atrocious.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been so bad for him. But I think for baseball fans in general, I think most people hope that'll turn it around. Maybe unless you're a Cardinals fan, maybe that might be the only exception because the Cardinals hate the Cubs. But no. So talking about this Cubs team though, obviously 74-88 last season. What do you think their expectations? Just kind of their overall expectations for 2023. What do you think they are?
I see him as finishing second in the National League Central, and behind the Cardinals, who are the only good team in that division, and missing the playoffs. It's an awful division. I think the Brewers are focused on rebuilding. I think Corbin Burns is going to be playing somewhere else before the deadline. The Pirates are awful. The Reds are awful. So I can't see the Cubs. I can't see the Cubs finishing anywhere but second place in that division. And the Cardinals I don't think the Cardinals look that great to me, but I mean, they're clearly the front runners in that division.
Yeah, the Cardinals definitely missing a piece here or there. And I still think the Brewers will be fine. I think a lot of people and just general media as a whole are overlooking the Brewers, especially too. It started after they traded Hader last year, but they still have talent, a lot of talent there, especially pitching wise. But this Cubs team, I think overall, they're gonna hope they gel together. Try and probably stick around 500. Hope things go right, and maybe they push for a wild card spot. I think that's the hope. And then when you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. But I think they're gonna have to. I think they probably end up around 500. Honestly, I think as of right now, I'd put them in third in that division. But maybe that's because I'm a little bit higher on the Brewers than most right now. Still. But I think they'll probably be in somewhat of a fight for second place in the division. I think they just end up at third.
I like them coming up with Horner, Swanson, Morrell, and Bellinger and Trey Mancini as kind of like the veterans. They seem like they might be good clubhouse guys. I like what's it, Gary Wisdom? Is it Grant Wisdom? Something
Patrick
like
Wisdom.
that. Patrick, oh jeez. Think of the old defensive end from the Rams back 20 years ago, Grant Wistrom. But I think they have some good pieces that are fun to watch, but I mean, they got a bunch of number fours. I think Marcus Stroman is a bum, kind of. And I think all that energy, that being his big, well, it's a long season. You can only stay that amped up for so long before it's all of a sudden negative energy. But I I don't like what they're doing with their rotation, but it's a likable team. I hope they do well.
Yeah, there are some question marks, especially rotation with Stroman and Tyone being the 1-2. There's some question marks there. Matt Mervis, I think is someone to watch. I think there's a solid chance he'll be the first baseman by the end of the year. I think he'll rake in AAA to start the year. I think he'll be up in the big leagues at some point. I think he'll make a big impact somewhere in this lineup. Maybe not the 3 through 5 spots, maybe in the 6 or 7 spot in the lineup. I think he'll make a big impact and plays way into the starting lineup by the end of the season for this Cubs team. So I think that's something to look forward to. But yeah, I think they'll probably end up around 500 most likely. So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. If you're a Cubs fan, comment and let us know your thoughts on this Cubs team. We'll try and reply to as many as possible. Check out all our links in the description. The link to all the team profile playlist with all the team profile videos will be in the description. So check that out. Make sure to check out all our other Bleacher Balls links, the Bleacher Balls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. So yeah, for Luke, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.